Hey there, Coastal Bend. It is meteorologist Carly Smith. We are talking another cold weather kind of night early on Saturday from 5 to 7 a.m. There is another freeze possible tonight. The weather impact is going to be that there's the freeze, and then what you need to do is still consider bundle up, shelter for pets, people, and plants. Now, this is a tricky forecast. Some locations may fall into the 20s. I still don't think it's long enough for pipes to freeze, especially since we'll be above freezing this afternoon and again tomorrow afternoon, and there'll be some sunshine and so forth. It will take a lot for pipes to freeze the first, regardless. Typically it's the lower 20s, but plants is going to play a bigger role in your preparedness tonight. We'll talk about why in just a second. But hey there, everyone. Here's a look at those low temperatures for the region. Again, I'm meteorologist Carly Smith. Thank you for tuning in on this live update. One of the reasons why this is such a tricky forecast is because of cloud coverage. So anyway, sorry, I'm back, is because of cloud coverage. So what we have with the clouds is essentially areas that are cloudy. This is the simple version. Areas that are cloudy are going to see temperatures in the 40s and upper 30s. Areas that see stars or clear nights are going to be in the low 30s and upper 20s. That's because of a west-northwest wind. So several factors are at play, but one of the easiest ways to describe what's going on is going to be radiational cooling. So the Earth loses heat efficiently under clear skies, calm winds, and low humidity. That westerly wind is a drier wind than when we have it coming over the Gulf of Mexico and into our area. So conditions will be fairly dry in the atmosphere. Additionally, our winds are going to be much lighter this afternoon, and we will have some of the region dealing with clear skies. With that being said, we finally got some rainfall, and because we finally got some rain, we have some moisture in our soil. So this might be enough soil moisture for even some frosty conditions to develop. I think that's the big headline for this update, is areas under clear skies, light winds with freezing temperatures. It has to be freezing, otherwise you're just going to notice some dew. Could see some frost that develops on plants, elevated surfaces, and your cars. It's not going to be a thick layer of frost by any means, but frost not out of the question. That will not impact roads, so roads will be fine. We are going to dry the roadways out with our wind and warmer temperatures today, so should not have any issues out on the roadways early tomorrow morning. But the reason why we're not confident in all of the coastal bend seeing freezing temperatures is because half of the area, like you saw in the graphic before this, is going to be covered in a cloud blanket. And essentially that just means that cloudy skies will likely cover half of the coastal bend. And when that happens, the Earth does not lose heat efficiently. So that keeps the heat trapped closer to the surface. We'll have cloudy skies, fast winds, and high humidity. So higher humidity, leading to warmer temperatures. So what you see here on Futurecast, this is another way to break it down, is we are trending a little bit more cloudy. So Saturday night, this model right here essentially is keeping cloud coverage overnight. By the time we get to 7 a.m., that cloud coverage does cut the region in half. And so that's why you see colder temperatures to the north and warmer temperatures to the south. And essentially, this graphic that I'm going to go back to is what myself and Chief Meteorologist Alan Holt really came up with. He may tweak it a little bit tonight as the new data comes out, but we both talked about this. And so for anyone that is just joining, will it be freezing tomorrow is a complicated question, unfortunately, because of the cloud coverage, but this is the map that you need to look at. So if you live in a smaller town that is not listed, find the larger town near you or find your county and look at some of those numbers there. But essentially, areas that are cloudy, which is more likely from a line pretty much from Rockport to Hebronville and south of there, you will likely stay above freezing, which does include Corpus Christi. Areas to the north, Refugio, Sinton, Mathis, Alice, Benavides. Right now, those areas on the southern end, you have a chance to be freezing. We didn't go freezing, but it's possible for Sinton, Alice, Benavides. There's a higher level of confidence in Refugio, Mathis, Freer, Beeville, George West, especially Live Oak and B County, having temperatures falling below freezing and possibly even into the 20s. So George West, Beeville could be in the 20s. If you do have some extra sensitive pipes, you may consider protecting them if they're not already. But with that being said, typically it's closer to 20. It's the low 20s when pipes actually freeze, even unprotected pipes that we have down here in Texas. That's data from Texas A&M University. So with that being said, I don't think it's worth worrying about, but if you're worried, it's better to be prepared and not scared. That's the best weather advice. But yeah, so Beeville, George West, those are the only two locations I would remotely be worried about. Even then, I'm not worried. This is not a pipe bursting event. It's very similar to what we saw last Tuesday, or even back in December. So back in December, Corpus Christi almost froze for the first time. We were at 33 degrees. These are similar conditions for areas that won't see clouds. So all of the coastal bend was pretty much cloud-free that morning. We were a little bit windier, but the winds did calm down enough for Corpus Christi to get down to 33. So tonight we are anticipating the light winds and clear conditions for half of the coastal bend, which would result in temperatures falling below freezing. So that's why the areas in blue are cloud-free. So you have a better shot at getting down to freezing temperatures, while areas to the south are going to have cloud coverage and odds are you don't freeze. The biggest issue would be frost, but that's on plants, cars, elevated surfaces. It will not be on the roadways. So no hazardous road conditions anticipated, not anticipating a pipe bursting freeze. This is just still, it could technically be a hard freeze for Beeville, George West if it falls below 28. But for the most part, I don't think we're going to be quite that cold, but it's not out of the question for Beeville and George West. And I think the biggest takeaway from this live update that I wanted to go live to explain, I also posted this graphic as well on Facebook and Twitter, or X, both to my page, Carly Smith WX, and KIII's pages. But the biggest takeaway is clouds are going to play a tricky role. If you look up at night before you go to bed and you see clouds, odds are you're going to stay above freezing. If you look up at night and you see clear skies, odds are you are going to freeze. Now, with that being said, this particular model did have everyone pretty cloudy at midnight. So you may, but if it's not clear all night, that plays a role as well. But it would be, if we do freeze, it looks like it would be around 4 a.m. is when those freezing temperatures start, and then it would warm by 8 a.m., 9 a.m. The National Weather Service does have us under a freeze warning. That's inland locations, and coastal locations are under freeze watch. So those coastal locations are Rockport, Corpus Christi, Flower Bluff, Port Aransas, all under a freeze watch. Our southern counties, Kennedy, Brooks, Jim Hog, also under a freeze watch, which means it's possible, but the confidence, all the forecast little ingredients are not quite there, and it's the cloud coverage that is preventing those areas from freezing. But I would even consider Nueces County, Claiborne County, southern Jim Wells County free from the freeze as well. So anyway, I'm going to quit mumbling on this update. I expected it to be nice and short. 118 is still 8 days away, so it's getting closer, Meg. I'll take a look and I'll answer your comment the best I can. But really still anything, we have a 7-day forecast. 5 days out is the most accurate. Yes, it should be safe to travel to San Antonio at 6 a.m. No one is going to have frozen road conditions. Even this morning, after all the freezing rain for areas north, Drive Texas only had icy roads north of I-30 in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. There were no reports of icy conditions or snowy conditions south of Interstate 30, which is far north. That's north of I-20, north of I-10. So driving to San Antonio will be fine. So that was Celia Ann. You should be good. All right, that's going to do it for this live update. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone stays safe and warm. Oh, there was one more graphic that we can end on. That will be fun. That shows that we have a warming trend coming up. So we are going to get rid of these freezing conditions, or the risk of freezing conditions. And we are going to still have sweater weather though. So winter coats may not be quite as necessary, although 40s are still really cold for me. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're back in the 40s. There's technically a weak front that passes through, but we're going to be a little bit more humid even behind that front, so our overnight lows should not be quite as cold. Anyway, now that is it. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and have a wonderful